Well, I'm really privileged and happy to say I'm joined here by England and Somerset professional cricketer Jack Leach. Jack, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to speak to you.
We had a few technical issues that I think
Yeah,
we lost now, but it's good. It's really good to talk to you and to see you. And we were just saying how the obvious question that I guess keeps coming up is coping in lockdown. We were just talking about
yeah.
all the various Zoom calls and virtual meetings and stuff. How's it been specifically for you the last couple of months getting through all this as a top cricketer?
Yeah, I guess I've had the same struggles as probably everyone else in terms of everything just stopping. I found the last few years have kind of been full of ups and downs, and I think professional sport, especially at the highest level, really the extremes of the ups and downs is quite a lot. So I think you know then when my answer to all those things along the way has been to work harder, push myself harder, and then the hard thing is when everything stops and you can't have any control over sort of your destiny, I guess. And for a short time, it's obviously stopped. I think it's important to have perspective and realize that obviously everyone's in the same boat, and there's people less fortunate as well. So important to do that, and also to see the positives in it. There's definitely been a lot of positives in terms of kind of spending some time at home and not being away all the time. And
Do you know what the key word there, Jack, is some time at home, because then you spend loads of time at home and everyone just wants to get out of
home. Yeah, I know. It's like the grass is always greener, isn't it?
Is
We always want something different.
home Somerset for you, Taunton? Right?
Yeah. I live just outside Taunton. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, my girlfriend's enjoyed having me around a bit more, but then probably wants me to get rid of me again now. So, it's kind of like a taste of, I guess, what retirement will be like, and kind of, how you need to, with sport, you need potentially another career after it. So, you kind of start to think, what am I going to do when I don't have cricket? Because that's what we're experiencing at the moment. So, that's been, something to think about. And so there's been some positives, definitely.
That sort of period of reflection is one of the things that seems to come through from most people I've spoken to. Doesn't matter what walk of life or what they do for a job. And that's interesting hearing you say, even as a 28, 29-year-old guy in the middle of your peak of your career, is giving you a bit of a chance to think about what you might want to do at the end of your cricketing career. So that's interesting to hear. Just wanted to pick up, so in case people don't know, and it's probably best that you say a little bit about yourself, Jack. But Jack's obviously a professional cricketer with Somerset in England, like we say, and we'll come on to Ashes cricket. But do you want to just give people a kind of a brief backstory of you and where you're at? And also, there is a link with Leighton Park School, isn't there? And that's kind of how we managed to get chatting now.
Yeah. So I grew up down in Taunton. Sort of my love for cricket started my dad taking me to watch Somerset as a young boy, and kind of grew up as a massive Somerset fan, and obviously just loved playing the game, and I guess didn't think too much about where it would go, but always dreamt of playing out on the county ground at Taunton, and just loved every minute of it as a youngster. And then my link to Leighton Park is obviously that I need to get, like, my dad went to school there, and my uncle taught there. I don't know, did he go to school there as well? But he definitely taught there for a long time. So both uncle, maybe Michael and Andrew. So there's a lot of links there that I should know a lot better. But they obviously talk very fondly of the school, and it's nice to obviously speak to you today, and know that the school's still going strong and stuff.
Yeah, well, we're definitely still going. I mean, obviously, schools at the moment have had to get through this period as well. I was saying to you just before we start recording, it's actually our first. It's not a proper day back, but it's the first day that we've had students officially back at school today. So we've got a small number of year 12s back in today, which is interesting. So I actually, just before we started talking, I just went off and printed off some of the questions that I've got. I went up to the printer and I couldn't remember my PIN because I haven't been here for so long. All those you just take for granted. I couldn't remember it. I couldn't remember my Wi-Fi login or anything. So it took me about an hour just to get into school and get myself sorted.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Thanks for giving that backstory. And yeah, it's good that there's that link. Have you ever been over this way before? Or do you remember ever being on site or anything? Or
no, I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have.
okay, well maybe at some point
we might have to arrange that. Yeah,
take you out of Somerset, yeah, and get you over to Berkshire when we're allowed to move around a bit more.
That'd be good.
So look, Jack, I know I was really conscious. I was thinking about questions and stuff for you yesterday. I know you've been asked this a million times, so I just want to get through the kind of Headingley test with you anyway. I just wanted to let you know. So last year, so I used to play a lot of cricket, but I'm an old man now, and I play every now and again. We actually set up a charity cricket match in Essex. We've got a mutual friend, Jack and I, called Russell, who I went to university with. And one of our friends from university actually sadly passed away when we were at university together. So we set up this cricket team called the Carrots, and we were playing this charity game. Russ wasn't playing, and at the beginning it was the last day of the Headingley Test. This game was on last year, and we all went into the game. We went, game's over, doesn't matter. We don't care about watching it. And then as we were playing our game, again, if someone got out, someone would run on with water and say, by the way, Stokesy's still in. And we would go, no way. And then the game went on and on and on. And then it got to a point where they said, look, England need whatever we needed, 50 odd. And Jack Leach has just come out to bat. So we basically lost the game anyway.
Yeah.
We almost threw the game away as quickly as we could. I was in a real grump because we lost the game. I was in such a bad mood. We ran up to the clubhouse and managed to watch live the last, it was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 overs of you batting with Stokesy. Again, you've been asked this so many times. Is it still, it was a year ago almost. Do you still get asked about it a lot and how you felt when you were doing it? And have you had a period to you still reflect on that now in lockdown as well, that time?
Yeah, like I still, like, it makes me real happy hearing other people's stories of them watching it, because I feel like I've always been watching these great moments in cricket, and then you realise that you were actually out there at the time. Like, it just feels so surreal in that way. I felt like a fan down the other end, watching Stokesy obviously do his thing, and then like every now and then I just have to like face a ball or whatever, and then I could
face a ball at 90 miles an hour, towards your head a lot of the time as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've never felt that focused on a cricket pitch. It just felt so simple in terms of the role that I had to play, and Stokesy made that really easy for me. And just all came together really well. I mean, there's a lot of luck in those big moments, and things definitely went our way. But still, look back with sort of immense pride, really, in what we achieved. And obviously, when there's those massive moments, you kind of forget about the rest of the game. But there were also some big performances from others to put us in that position to even need 70 to win. Obviously, you forget we were bowled out for 60 odd first innings, and we had to chase. I think it was 350, 360. So, and me and Stokes put on 70. So, Rooty and Denners and these guys, like, they played their part, Johnny Bairstow. And so, yeah, but just the crowd and the occasion and how it all played out was just unbelievable. And I watched it back actually for the first time when they were playing it on Sky, when they had the guys sort of watching along with it, and that was my first time that I watched it back properly, because I don't really like watching myself, but then just to watch it all was quite nice. And because I could only remember like 2 balls of the innings that I faced. Like, I remember blocking Lyon 1 ball, and then I remember obviously the one that everyone enjoys. So, but the rest is kind of a blur. And again, those big moments, it's you kind of forget the minor sort of the little details within it and how it plays out. So yeah, I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, you can. I think I've watched it maybe 3 times, and I said to you before we start recording this, I watched it yesterday again just to kind of get the sense. And even though I know exactly what's going to happen every ball, I was still, it was like watching it live again. It's just such
Yeah,
brilliant. That's why Test cricket is and can be such an amazing format of the game, isn't it? And I'll come
yeah.
to that with you in a bit. Test cricket versus T20 cricket.
Mm,
This is my first little bit of insider knowledge that I've got. Okay, and hopefully this
okay.
is one of those questions because you've obviously been asked about the Headingley Test so much. Okay, so I have it under good authority that you have actually almost done a dress rehearsal for that innings with Stokesy. You've got to take your mind back to the Baker Cup final when you were playing against Taunton Vale. You were batting, and apparently number 11 for Taunton Dean.
Yeah.
And apparently you came in at number 11. Again, the game was all but lost. And it was a mirror image of that innings that you played with Stokesy, but maybe at a slightly different level. Maybe the ball wasn't coming at you at 90 miles an hour. But
No.
yeah, I've been told apparently this is totally true. And I just wanted to pick your brain and see if you can remember that game.
Like, I remember it so clearly, and like that was, I think that I always look back at that being so special as well. And I mean, obviously, no one knows about that compared to who knows about Headingley. But for me, it was just as special. Like, we needed 60 odd to win off 6 overs, and I was going in at number 11. And well, actually, I was meant to be going in at 10, and then Russell like changed his mind and said that the guy should go ahead of me. And I was like, I remember thinking pretty down about that. Like, I'm going to prove him wrong. And then I got like 14 not out or something, and Ali Warren got 60 or 70, who was the batter at the other end, who'd been there most of the innings, and we won off the last ball. And yeah, again, it was like that. Those kind of moments, I guess, as a kid, are amazing, and you kind of yeah, I was playing with in a men's side, and you want to do really well for them, and yeah, it was just an amazing experience as well. And I think that's the thing that shows, like, whatever level you play, like once I was in that moment at Headingley, it just felt like another game, like because you just play to the situation, and you don't think about what it's going to be like after it. Like, you kind of can't quite believe how many people it's captured the nation, that game, and but you never think about that when you're doing it. You just want to win the game of cricket that's in front of you, and that's what's nice about those big moments, is almost it becomes simpler in your head because you can't think about, you've got no distractions. It's literally really simple and really clear, and that's what I really enjoyed about that, sort of learning that kind of thing out there.
You've obviously developed an ability to become resilient in that way, which is really cool to see. And again, again, something you've already been asked about a lot, but I've got another bit of insider knowledge on this. The other sort of great innings that I guess you're remembered for in an England shirt is that 92 against Ireland, when you were as a night watchman. Again, I hope you're all happy potentially talking about this. And again, this is under, you know who this has probably come from. I've been told that potentially Joe Root was going to give you some kind of reward for every sort of 10 runs you scored in that innings, and you obviously just 8 runs short of your 100. Can you talk about that? Is that true? And how did you feel with that innings, and were you gutted not to make the ton?
So Rooty said to me, obviously we're in a bit of trouble in that game as well, and there's 1 over left in the day on day one, and I was back out there batting, and I'd had a really, I was pretty down after that day. I bowled 3 overs in the first innings and gone for 26 runs, and I felt so nervous that day because it was my first experience of Test cricket in England, and a full house at Lords after the World Cup. There was such a hype around cricket, and it was the noise at Lords was something that I wasn't used to. I mean, I don't play one-day cricket in county cricket, so I'm not used to playing in front of those big crowds necessarily. And when you're abroad playing Test cricket, you don't necessarily get the bigger crowds. So it was a new experience to me, and I didn't deal with it very well on day one, but I managed to get to the end of the day, and obviously thought, I want to stay out there for as long as possible. Ruti said to me, for every 10 runs you get a bottle of wine of your choice, like between I don't know, I think it was like 10 and 20 quid. So and so yeah, and then I did, and then again, not really thinking about that, but just thinking like I want to spend some time out here in the middle, and like I just loved every minute of that, and just to be, you start thinking like a batter. I was playing at the top of the order, and I'm batting out here at Lords like this, and you hit a nice shot, and it just like the outfield's like a carpet, and it's just going off the boundary, and you got the crowd cheering, and it's almost like a nothing to lose feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that's like something like
watchman as well, Jack. Like your job is to like the title of that is you get through that day, don't you? And you did
your job.
You said so. Yeah, you almost had nothing to lose. You play. I remember again. I watched that back yesterday. You played some really classy shots in that innings as well, didn't you?
Yeah. I think no, I mean there was a bit of a journey with that as well, in terms of up until then I got hit the year before by Morne Morkel and in the head and was concussed, and that was my first game back after breaking my thumb from being in the nets batting as well. So I had a real negative feeling towards batting. So yeah, I think it took me a bit of time to sort of get over that, and that innings was a long time that I spent, the longest I've spent in the middle for a long time, and I managed to sort of control my anxieties of batting, and okay, that ball's short, I just get underneath it, and still like I felt more like a batter, and I got in a real good routine of breaking it down ball by ball rather than worrying about what's in the future or what's happened in the past. So just this ball one at a time, and I took that into the Ashes, and obviously that helped me at Headingley, and probably went up another level at Headingley just because of the situation, and because I only faced 17 balls, every ball felt so important. So hence the like cleaning of the glasses to like make sure had the perfect eyesight, for each ball. And
have you watched any of the tests? Because obviously in lockdown, sports documentaries are all the rage at the moment.
Yeah.
With The Last Dance and the test. And have you watched any of that back? Because I watched it again fairly recently, and it was so interesting watching it from a fan's point of view. Because I'm a bit soft, but I actually felt quite sorry for the Aussies leading up to the Ashes, because obviously so much had gone on, and Justin Langer had gone in, and a lot of those, nearly all of them, I think, come across brilliantly on the test. And I won't be negative and say anyone that I don't think comes across negatively. And again, talking to people that friends of mine, like I've told you about Chris, who's played Test cricket, he said they're all really, really good guys. But then it got to the Ashes. Yeah. It gets to the Ashes episode, and then all of a sudden I just changed, and I felt real animosity again, because that's the Ashes. But it's so interesting watching their reaction up in the boxes to you batting with Stokesy, especially the whole, Justin Langer. I don't know if you've seen that clip where he kicks the recycling.
Yeah, I mean, picks it all up.
It was just a sort of perfect storm of things going on, wasn't it? With missed run out, missing review opportunities and stuff. So have you watched that back?
I've watched 3 episodes so far. I think again, I like have a feeling of like, oh, do I want to watch that? Because I was actually involved in it. Like I don't, but I found it, and also because people were like saying, oh, the Aussies come across like really well, and I was like, oh, I don't want to like the Aussies. Like I've grown up like not liking the Aussies.
Then they show you guys in the dressing room afterwards, and I love that. Yeah. Side. And again, it was something I wanted to ask you about, because obviously we know that sport, what goes on the field, whether it's cricket, rugby, football, whatever. And then afterwards, there should be that shaking of the hands and enjoying a beer. I personally really like seeing that, because it shows the human side of you guys. And I also personally really loved seeing you all on the pitch afterwards, like having a beer with the guys and recreating it. But I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking that. Did that bring a bit of controversy for you? All that stuff on the pitch afterwards, did that get a bit tricky on social media and stuff?
I was actually surprised how well it went down. Like I was really nervous when because Joss had taken a video of like me or whatever, and obviously had a few drinks and being a bit of a clown. and like I was just really like embarrassed that it got out on to social media, and was so worried about how it was going to be portrayed. And luckily, like everyone, like, well, from what I saw, mostly was all good. And I think what came across was that I'm just a bit of a um, clubby who's just like managed to obviously get to where I have. Like, obviously, but at heart, I try to enjoy the game and enjoy it for what it is. And whether I'm playing for Taunton Dean or for England, is like try and have a laugh with my teammates, and enjoy, make it an enjoyable experience. And but yeah, I still would obviously, I wasn't doing that for the general public. I was doing that for just me and teammates afterwards. I know Rooty wanted to go out on the pitch and sort of say, look, let's have a beer here, like, and take in what has been like one of the best games ever. So yeah, that was really nice. But yeah, obviously then like Old Trafford, we then lose, and then like Smith's like got the glasses on, and he's like and doing whatever. So and I found that funny. Like, and then after, when he came into the Oval, I was like, as soon as he came in, I was like, right, get these glasses on. We're having a picture together. And so then I've got a picture of me and him with glasses on or whatever. So it's good to have that like competition on the pitch. And it was got like quite niggly like towards the end of the series, and I think during the Oval game there was quite a lot of chat of like, oh, are we gonna have drinks after, like what's it gonna be like all these guys have like annoyed us, and we like, but then as soon as you've had a few drinks and you're all in there together, you realize that we're all very similar in terms of we're all just trying to do our best for our country. And guys that you probably didn't enjoy during the series are actually the ones you maybe enjoy the most in the changing room afterwards. And you realize, like, if they were on your team, you'd love to have them in your team. So yeah, that's really a great part of cricket, and I think why we love the game is when that sort of happens.
Absolutely. You mentioned in that bit as well that you called yourself a clubby, which I thought was interesting because, again, I've been told that even after playing at that top level, you'll still come home, pay a £10 match fee, and play for Taunton Dean Cricket Club, which I just think that's fantastic. I mean, that's not usual, is it, for an England Test cricketer to come home and come and play for their club side? Is that something you sort of want to do? And why do you want to do that? Is that just because you, like you say, you just love playing cricket and you want to be around your mates playing cricket?
Like, I'd say part of it is that, like, the way the schedules have been is like when I came back from Test matches, there was only white ball cricket going on in county cricket. So actually, I'm not selected for that. So I felt like I needed some cricket to play, and club cricket was the option for me whilst playing second team stuff at county. So I feel like I'm quite unusual in terms of I play all the levels, because at times I need all the levels to have cricket to play. But I think I remember I played the Ireland game, got man of the match, and then wasn't in the Ashes first Test squad. So then I played a club game, and it's really nice to go back to playing with your mates, and you remember where you came from and why you play the game, and it's the same game played over 22 yards, and it requires the same effort and everything to do well at any stand. Like, if you like, the game will always get you, I think, if you don't sort of rock up with the right attitude. So yeah, it's a real good experience to have. And then obviously I went back into the Ashes for the second Test and went from there, really. And I always, during the Ashes, kept hold of that club game I played, because I thought, right, you played with your mates there, you enjoyed, like, that is the same thing you want to do at every level, because that's what gets the best out of yourself.
Brilliant. Oh, Jack, look, I've got loads of other questions, but I think I'm
Yeah.
going to move on because I asked some of our staff, students, and also some other sort of friends who are keen cricketers to come up with some questions. So is it all right to run through some of these?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first one I've got is what's the favourite wicket or the best batter you've ever got out?
So my first wicket for Somerset first team was Hashim Amla against South Africa in the touring game, and yeah, it was a nice wicket. It was like spun past his outside edge, bowled him.
Do you know Russ told me yesterday that's the wicket you'd say was your favourite wicket?
Really,
Yeah.
yeah, it is a real memorable one for me, and just I guess he went on that summer to like get a load of big scores, and it felt like I was getting someone out who was at their prime.
Yeah.
And obviously I was just starting out, and that was a very nice feeling.
It made you feel like you belonged because you've probably got
Yeah,
an element of doubt still, haven't you? Maybe when you first started playing at that level, yeah.
I think that's it. So that was probably one that I'll remember forever, really.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
this question: who's your favourite or most influential coach as a youngster?
Is that from Russell?
I can't tell you.
um, when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think probably as a youngster.
Yeah, I think for like I'd say there's Pete Sanderson at Somerset. Like he was a coach when I was younger, and I've still got a very strong relationship with him now. I would say Russell Jones, to be honest, like in terms of how he just remember my first sessions. Like it was, I think Russ is great at like keeping it like enjoyable, and with the when you're that age, like all you want to do is have fun and hit the ball and bowl the ball and like just make it a real positive experience. And yeah, that energy that he had, I think rubbed off on a lot of youngsters, and definitely did on me. So I'll probably pick out those two.
Cool. He'll be chuffed that he made the top two. Definitely, mate.
Yeah.
Your Crohn's disease, you've talked a bit about that before. Is that, how tough, is that still ongoing? Is that something you still got to deal with? And is it something that still affects you now?
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing with it is like how it can sort of cause me a little bit of issues like with stress and stuff. So obviously a high stress, these kind of test matches are actually the night before the last day of Headingley. I remember the doctor coming in because I had the worst stomach cramps, and I couldn't sleep, and yeah, I was still so far off batting, and I didn't obviously think what was going to happen. It went like that, but yeah, I think there's still some difficulties with it. I've had to play around with diet stuff, and just to make sure that I'm looking after myself in that way, and yeah, just managing it really more than anything. I think I'm quite lucky in terms of I think it's quite minor for me, like compared to how some people suffer from it. So, but I am on medication for it, and the medication does weaken my immune system quite a lot. So, picking up other things alongside it can be an issue. And in the winter in New Zealand, I had sepsis, and that came from food poisoning, and my body just couldn't deal with it, and then it attacked my bloodstream and stuff. So there's been some difficulties in that way, and then obviously with like coronavirus, you're trying to be careful about that. With the medication you're on, they put you in a sort of more vulnerable category because they don't know how you're necessarily going to react. I believe that the way I sort of dealt with sepsis, which can be quite tricky to deal with for anyone, even though you're on that medication, is that I'm fit and healthy in general, being a sportsman, so that I would be okay. But yeah, you do everything to keep your immune system as high as you can with your diet and and then obviously hope for the best if you were unlucky enough to obviously get it. So those are the kind of things that you kind of have to deal with, I guess.
Cool. This question: can you remember any really funny sledges that you've either heard by someone else or given out? There was a program on last night. I think it was on Channel 5, and it was do you remember the Freddie Flintoff one with Tino Best? It's just
so good.
It's just the best, isn't it? Watching it back, because he just finds it so funny. I mean, is there anything like that that might not be that obvious that you've heard, or that you can tell us that it isn't too rude?
I can't. Like, I cannot give out good sledges. Like, I'm not able to do it. Like,
you ever try?
I just care. Like, it's like I'm worried I'm going to say something and then I'll get whacked out the ground and it won't look good. So I'm trying to think if I've had any. I remember getting some at Manchester by the Aussies when I was like cleaning my glasses, because obviously playing for the draw and stuff. And there's a few then, but I can't think of. I mean, I remember my second first class game, maybe. I remember Ricky Clark getting stuck into me. Can't repeat what he said, but yeah.
Is he still going? Ricky Clark's been knocking around all the time, isn't he?
Yeah, he has.
He must be pushing 50 by now, surely. How can he still bowl? How can he still get his arm over?
He's actually, he still goes really well. But he likes to bully youngsters, which I'm not happy with that. So but like he's now I found, like, as I've got become a bit more experienced, he's like, plays the nice guy card now. It's like I still remember what you said to me. Like, I'll never forget that. So I can't think of any others off the top of my head. Right. I mean, during there's some good ones from the crowd, to be fair. They're usually quite witty, and they've all had a few beers. So
who in the sort of current England setups particularly witty and funny with that sort of stuff? Who's like a kind of modern Freddie who can come up with some funny stuff?
I would say. Do you know who's really funny is I don't know about on the pitch if he like gives it out to the opposition, but Moeen Ali is very funny.
Is he?
Yeah, he's so dry, and he has got good banter, actually. And I think Stokesy's not afraid to give a few words out, and actually Rory Burns as well is really good at it. So
there's a good. I like personally, and I love my cricket. I think there's a place for it when it's banter. That's a big part of what sort of came through on the Test documentary, because obviously the Aussies were
Langer goes on about it a lot.
Yeah, well, they're having to deal with a lot of flack, which part of you thinks fair enough, but then the other part of you thinks all involved. But anyway, that's a totally separate issue. All right, last couple of questions. Again, this is another one of the special Russell Jones ones. Facing the short ball, did you have good prep as a youngster? I think what he's basically suggesting, Russ, is that he used to pepper you with short balls to try and prep you for that inning.
Russ always goes on about, I remember net, like we used to train in the winter, like at King's College, and it's like really bouncy surface. And so then he used to just pepper me, so he could feel quick again. Russell's arms got lower and lower as he's got older and older. I think he quite enjoys, obviously in the summer on club wickets you play on slow low ones. So then when we have winter nets, he enjoys bumping you just so he feels quick. But
he's basically he's doing it for himself to make himself feel quick again. But he's saying that's why you played the short ball so well in that innings at Headingley.
Okay, yeah.
You did actually play it really well, didn't you? You looked really good and comfortable against that short ball.
Yeah, well, obviously the year before I did have that knock, and I think I went on quite a big journey there in terms of I was scared of the ball for a long time, and it does knock your confidence and set you back a little bit. So it was important for me to excuse the pun, take that work on head on, because it's very easy to shy away from, and it was a hard sort of balance to get right, because obviously I wanted to stay fit to bowl. I didn't want to practice in the nets and get hit and get hurt. Lucky enough, we've got like these like lighter balls that you can use that they're going to sting, but they're not going to break any bones, and so actually it's a good way of doing fast stuff, bouncy stuff, without knowing that you're not going to get hit. So, really good for the bowlers, obviously, because you want to practice. Obviously, you're going to get a lot of short stuff, so you want to practice that, but not under threat of getting injured. So that's really helped me, and I feel in a good place with it now.
I always remember as a kid having to face Trem in the net.
Oh God!
Honestly, mate. Well, I'm not. I was never been a good batsman. I was more of a bowler, but I think that put me off fast short bowling, because he's so tall as well. I used to think it was on a length and it would just come flying up at your head. And
like, I don't mind like pace. I think it's like height that I struggle with, because they get so much extra bounce. Like, it's like it pitches quite full, but it still gets up high, and it's like I definitely agree with you. I think it's the height and where it's coming from that's so difficult. Have you seen Trem now? He's massive.
So he's actually saw him last week. Went round to his house and did a workout with him. And I was going to say he can't. His deltoids are so big he can barely get his arm over his head anymore. But he's to be honest, he played in that when I was telling you about the cricket match when we came off and watched you. He was playing in that game.
Oh, was he?
He could still do it. He can still get it over his head. He's just, off one pace, he's totally changed his body shape now. So do you think that's the way you might go, Jack, once you retire, start bodybuilding and get massive?
I'm not going to be that size, but I do enjoy my fitness and stuff. I think more from like, obviously it's very physical, but it's also from a mental well-being point of view. It's like, I think I'll always need some sort of physical exercise. And I think a lot of people during lockdown has been like, just a way to get out is to, so many people on Strava doing runs and stuff.
Yeah, well, people are either going to come out of lockdown super fat or super fit, aren't they?
Yeah, I think I'm coming out fit but fat. Like both, like I'm running better than I ever have, but probably a little bit fatter.
Rubbish. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm exactly the same. I've probably worked out more than ever, but eating more ice creams and more rubbish than I ever have as well.
That's the thing. Like, Mrs. been loving baking. So it's like all these things to try, and I can't help myself.
Look, Jack, I could talk to you. There's loads of other things I could ask you, but I think we'll stop it there. Can I just ask you one more thing, which I think could be really good for our students that love their cricket? It's difficult, this. Is there any sort of one nugget of advice you could give any young aspiring cricketers based on your experience?
Based on my experience, I think, that's a tough question. I think enjoyment has to be there, and it has to be fun. Like, I'd say try and listen to every piece of advice you get given, and it might not all be for you, but make sure you you listen to it and give it a go. I just think that when you're young, enjoy the game as much as you can, and always keep hold of that feeling, however far you go with it. Obviously listen to your PE teacher.
Even when they're pummeling cricket balls at your head to make them feel fun again.
Yeah, know that I'd say that as well. I'd say do the hard work. I think it's it's easy to do the things that you enjoy and things you're good at. I think where you get real confidence boost is where you actually do the things that are hard work and things that you find more difficult. And at the time, it might not be very nice, but afterwards you sort of reflect on it and say, yes, I'm glad I've got that session done. And then that becomes easier the more you do it. And so if you get out your comfort zone, then your comfort zone becomes bigger and bigger, and everything feels a lot easier. So that would be another piece of advice.
That's great advice. Thanks, Jack. Just as before we stop, when are we likely to see you back playing cricket? Do we have any idea yet?
Well, 8th of July is the first Test match against West Indies behind closed doors. So that'll be on Sky, and Yeah, on Sky, and yeah, so that's when we're sort of building towards. There's a squad of us going to Southampton next week, a couple of weeks training leading into that series. So yeah, there'll still be, well, there's a lot of cricket planned for the end of the summer. So yeah, make sure you're all watching.
Well, look, Jack, we look forward to seeing you play in that series and saying mind those windows to some of the West Indian players. Thanks so
Yeah,
much
good
for your
shout.
time, Jack. It's really good to speak to you.
Cheers, mate. Nice
Okay,
to
mate.
speak to you.